All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Monday Check-In. I'm Errol, I'm your host, and it is time for the weekly check-in. Let's go. I'm so glad it's another week down of this year. And whether you are listening on your way to work or during your routine or just getting your creative stuff going, I appreciate you and I want to thank you for participating and being a member of the Artistry Society. That's how I consider everybody. Today we're going to talk about something I think a lot of us don't always talk about enough. Really, building a life, and not having a perfect plan, or building a community and not having a perfect plan. So this is basically, as I kind of titled this, which is, I forgot what my saying was now. I'm a little scatterbrained, y'all. It's sometimes this is just how it is. Oh yeah, to just drive, right? You just going, basically. That's what I call it, just drive. So no blueprint, just drive. That's what I titled it. I had to look back at it because I kind of, I get off work. After you work 8 hours, I'm gonna be a little all over the place because that's how I just do things now. You work 8 hours and you come home and you try to do this, and you want it to be good. You want it to be great. But this is what I'm talking about, not having a perfect plan. You have an idea and you just go along with it. So let's just talk about some stuff. So let's get here. Content creating. So, one of the biggest things is we moved from New York down here to Kentucky, and it's a major change, obviously. I had to change cities, change jobs, family, get everything, all that. So it's been about a year now. It's close to a year, I think, when we came down here last year. It's approaching a year. Let's just put it that way. But I'm used to moving. As in the Navy, I moved around a lot. I traveled the world, and I have a lot of experiences with this, uprooting and changing everything and starting over. So like every time you kind of like get a fresh start or a new start over, right? So, and that's what this totally was for me, coming to here in Kentucky, and then now I wanted to really hammer down hard because I'm retired, but I still work. I'm retired, but I still work. I do a job. I was a media manager. Now I'm just doing a gym job, but I mean, hey, I'm earning money along with my retirement money, my check, and all that stuff. So I get, my disabilities and all that stuff. So, I'm earning money as well, doing what I can. I would love to have another graphics design job, but I just don't, there's nothing down here, or I haven't found anything yet. Still searching. I had to take a little sip of my soda here. So, that's a big changes in life. And I wanted to push harder into the social media aspect, or especially on YouTube, trying to grow my channels and see how far I can take it, how far. So it's more of a hobby thing for me, and it's an experiment to see how well can I do at it, if I really push hard, And I think that's the thing, is just to drive. I didn't have the drive before when I was starting YouTube and doing all the stuff. Or because I switched to Facebook. We've talked about this. If you listen to any of the other episodes, you'll know that I started on YouTube and switched to Facebook gaming, where it just went awry. It wasn't good. And that was a big learning lesson in itself, you know. And, you know, when I think back, I wish I would have never went to Facebook and I just would have stuck with YouTube, because I had a small amount of momentum on YouTube. I did. But then I went to Facebook and I had a great amount of momentum, and then they shut it down, and then it all went went out the window. It went out the window. So, you know, and I don't understand, you know, how people really just don't want to switch over from platforms. And I see that's why, like, you know, a lot of people like to multi-stream now. And I get it. I really don't. I would rather just have one platform, but it's nearly impossible to grow unless you're kind of like pushing your stuff everywhere. And that's a big thing. So, you know, we've been switching up our plans and building hopefully a better roadmap for what I want to do to try to achieve more, right? Or get bigger, or grow bigger, and, you know, actually try to make it, you know, which is it's challenging. It's very challenging. That's what I think is exciting about it. It's challenging, you know. But I have been going so long without a map or an idea. It's been more of an idea where to go, right? You know, so I've been really more committed to YouTube this year. We have multiple platforms on YouTube now. It's like ArtwithErrol Gaming, not channels, multiple channels, right? So I have ArtwithErrol Gaming, we have ArtwithErrol, which is where we put all our artwork, and then we have this podcasting channel, which I'm, you know, new to the podcasting game. Everybody's got, you know, their hands in it. You know, everything is oversaturated. You know, everybody has their own podcast. Everybody has their own gaming. You know, a lot of people have their own art channels and stuff. You know, everything is oversaturated. But, you know, I still think you can make it. It's just you have to keep pushing and try to get better each time. And that's where I think the key to all this is, you know. You know, I in my graphics design classes, I took a TV production class, so I have a concept or an idea on how to, like, capture stuff. So I think I can really do it, make some pretty good videos. I can. You know, it's challenging in the amount of time I have, you know, because I still work an 8-hour day, and then I usually have approximately a 2-hour window, you know. Sometimes it's less, sometimes I can squeeze it out more, but, you know, it's very challenging to get things done in that short amount of time each day. And then sometimes, you know, you need work-life balance. You need to have days where you don't do anything, you know, which I try to do that as well, you know. Typically on the weekends, I try to leave them open. Every now and then I'll try to squeeze in some content, you know, especially when I know I've missed, like, some game streaming days and stuff like that. So, yeah, you know, and I was the social media manager, so I know how to, like, you know, increase the value of the property, you know, just by, you know, posting and, you know, adding in keywords and all that stuff. I know how to do it. It's just challenging when your time is constricted. So I've definitely made a lot of mistakes, you know, and I think that with this podcast, if you're listening, I think this can help you, because you can essentially get some ideas and learn from my mistakes. I've posted videos that don't get any views. You know, I've had audio issues all the time in my streams. I catch them when I'm trying to record as well to X. So we do this on X and we do this on YouTube. You know, I've also had some editing hiccups before, you know, where I'll catch it later and, like, oh, shoot, I forgot to change the date in my short or something. You know, things happen, you know. Thumbnails that just probably aren't great. But I keep going. That's the thing. I think the drive, you got to have drive, and willingness to try to look for these mistakes. And I've said it before, you have to review your content. You have to look at your own content, And I know I get the concept of posting and ghosting, but it's just not beneficial if you're the one-man show, And sometimes, progress looks like, a little bit messy, You're trying to get better at something. The only way you really learn is by making mistakes. You got to make mistakes. So, and that's the truth of the matter. It really is, There's no perfect moment. If you're looking for the perfect moment to start something, or the perfect setup, or the perfect plan, or that's really how the dreams die, because you're never going to have it perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You may have a good day and it may have a lot of stuff go right, but nothing's going to ever be perfect. So don't expect perfection when you're trying to be a creator or a content creator. You have to just know when to accept, that you've done your best at something and just put it out there, And making mistakes is how you learn. It's how you grow, how you get better. And you'll get so good that your mistakes will get less and less and less. But I think that's over time. You need a lot of time, a lot of hours. What do they say? The 10,000 hours. You need 10,000 hours, So the only way you get 10,000 hours or more, right, is to actually make content. You can't get there if you're not making content. If you just always on YouTube or wherever and you're just criticizing everybody else and you're not making it, you don't have a idea or a concept of how hard it is. It's funny because people do that. People do that. They will criticize you when you go to their little channel. They have nothing. And that's funny to me. It is funny to me because there are some weirdos out there. I call them weirdos. They're really crazy people, but they're weirdos. Yeah. Your mindset, your mindset. If you're a content creator, you got to have a good mindset, I think. You don't really need like the whole staircase. Just, take it one step at a time. That's what I think, Every week I'm trying to improve, as you should be too. Trying to improve, right? Trying to get better. Even if it's 1% better than last week, that's a win, man. That's how I see it, Even, because not everybody, some people can just grasp things and it just clicks for them and they just got it, And other things, sometimes you just need a lot of repetition till you can figure it out, And there's always a way, at some point, it will click, I think, in your head and you'll get what you need to do to be successful, And that's how I feel. That's why now that I'm actually in a groove of making more and more content, like I'm doing a podcast every Monday, I'm feeling more relaxed. I'm more comfortable. I'm able to kind of talk. I have a lot of issues with saying, and I try my best to not do it, but it just happens. It's a mental thing with me because I've never really been a true public speaker. The people that do well at the public speaking is really amazing. That's hard work to be able to really think and say what you want to say without pausing a lot or saying or anything that that are those little mannerisms or whatever that will throw people off. It's really challenging, man. It's really tough. I think the more you do it, you can get better, and the more you kind of focus and hone it in, you can learn to not do those things. But it's definitely going to take me a long time to break those bad habits. it's gonna take me a while. I already see it, already know it, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. And that's the mindset that I want to kind of clarify, dive into today. It's just drive, man. Try. Keep the drive going. So, whether you are, starting whatever business or YouTube channel or art, whatever it is you're trying to do and you're creative, you should have this mindset of, I got to keep trying and make content so I can learn from my mistakes and try every day to get a little bit better. And even if this is the smallest step forward, that's better than no step forward. And there's going to be times when you stagnate. There is. I know that I was stagnated for a while this year, even though I've been making content. I've been trying different things, with my shorts. I've been thinking I always try this good morning thing because I'm up so early in the morning making a short. But people don't get it. So I decided to cut it eventually. At this point, I've cut it out. And people might not even notice the transition. The good morning is gone. And it had a funny run for maybe the first month or so I did it, but I kind of carried it a little too long. So those are the things you learn from those mistakes, and you just got to learn to cut it out. So now I'm just going with, it's a bit of gaming news, and I want to make that seem better. Got some ideas. I just got to put it into action, plans into action. So that's just an example, because I do the daily short on the gaming channel where I give a bit of gaming news. I was telling everybody good morning, and people would see it like, it ain't the morning here. Like, what are you talking about? So I decided, hey, finally it's time to let that go. They're not getting it that I make the video at 3 a.m. Everybody's asleep. I'm delirious. Just let it go. All right, cool. We let it go. We move on. We move forward, right? That's a thing, That's a thing, Let's talk about some other stuff I learned, This journey is, it's tough, man. Especially in this day and age where everybody is into this fast-paced scrolling. And I try to keep my eye on people when they're doing it so I can see what they're doing, what they're looking at, what they stop on. It's got to be captivating and catch their attention right away. So I try to put the stopper in there where I give you the gist of what the topic is with my shorts now. And then I'll say it's a bit of gaming news, and then I kind of dive right into it. So I try to do it something to give them a stopper, but I don't know if it's working, and only time will tell. I need to do this for at least a month and see how that works, which I'm trying to do that more often, more frequently now. And I'm trying to make it, to where it has a little something funny in it, but it's not there yet. I'm still tweaking my shorts. I don't make enough long form videos because I usually don't have enough time. I want to try to make one today, but we got to see where we finish the podcast. I'm still thinking about what I can do next. It's always in the back of my mind, what can I do next? How can I do it, and how can I do it fast? Because I have to be able to do it fast because my time is so limited, right? And if you're in my same boat, like if you're working a full-time job, you're not a full-time creator. You don't have all day to make a video, You don't have but a short window of time, especially if you're a family man like myself. If you're not, good on you. You can work your job, get off, and you have hours to do your content. That's wonderful. This is for the average folks, like myself. If you get off of a 8-hour shift and you still want to be a content creator, but you only have, let's say you have less time than me. What if you only have an hour? What can you make in that hour? If you're going to do a video, you got to be really quick and you got to be able to edit quick. And editing takes up most of the time. I think coming up with the script, coming up with the shot, you could do that fairly quick, And if you're a good speaker, you could probably get it in one take, if you're a good speaker. If you have no problems with the ums and all the other little things we talked about, you can probably nail it in one take. The editing is what usually takes the time because you want to edit the video. If you haven't learned editing, everybody should be, if you're a content creator, you should be watching editing videos. 100, you should be watching editing videos. So you can learn the tricks and the things you need to do to make your video stand out. And that in itself takes time, because the editing takes up the most time, I believe. And one other thing, you'll never feel like you're at 100% ready to do anything, So you got to get out of that mindset. If you've been sitting and waiting, your dream is just going to pass you by. And that's when anything. If you've been sitting and waiting to be 100% on something, you will never get where you want to get. You just got to start anyway. Like I said, you got to learn from mistakes. So just know you're going to mess up. Just know that's how you learn. I make plenty of mistakes. Streaming the other day, I was game streaming, and I forgot I didn't switch something, and it happens a lot. You just have to learn from it and just try to fix it the next time. Nobody really has a set blueprint that's going to get you to where you want to get. You have to go through the process yourself a lot of times. We can give you, people that have been doing it for a while can give you tips on their failures. And you can listen to it, but you're not going to grasp it until you try it. Until you actually have that error. Then you'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Or, oh, that's what they were talking about. Then it will click in your head. You'll be like, oh, okay, now I see it. Now I understand it. So you build as you go. You keep the drive going. That's where we at. You keep the drive going. I think the people that succeed aren't the ones that, have it all figured out. You have to be one of the ones that refuse to quit. That is willing to go the extra mile to make it better each time. And I think that's where you'll see success in this journey. I think that's where I'm going to see success, is by keep pushing and keep trying new things and experiment. And then, it's not about having a one type of formula to make this stuff. I don't think, some people, maybe they have that and maybe that works for them. I don't think that's going to work for me. So I've got to be able to figure out another way to break through. And that's what it's about, learning and keeping your drive and making content. If you're not making the content, how you gonna get better? How you gonna get better? So I think that's enough today about content creating. That's what I like to kick off our podcast and talk about, just where we're at in this stuff, and, have an idea of what can make us better, So when I think drive, your drive. So don't, you don't want to follow a blueprint. Just drive, man. Just get in and go. That's what I'm thinking. So we could talk a little bit about gaming now. I think it's a great time. I finished up Doom: The Dark Ages last week. And this is where we kind of go into another topic, y'all. Talk about gaming. Joy of gaming. So we finished up Doom: The Dark Ages. I really enjoyed that game. It's a long game, you know. I think a lot of games now that are kind of go through or campaigns are pretty long. Probably with the exception of like Call of Duty, I think they've had some short campaigns, but for the most part, the games that I would like to play that are action adventure or like, you know, or go through or campaigns and stuff, they're pretty long. And I was thinking that in the next week or two we'll start up another game, and I was thinking South of Midnight. I think this week I wanted to just play some shooter games, just because those are just like kind of, you know, you just launch it and go, you know, just get some shooter action in. I've been trying to complete the battle pass for this season of Warzone or COD or whatever. I'm close. I'm not there. I've also was trying to complete the battle pass for Fortnite, which has Superman at the end. I'm nowhere near that, so I think tomorrow we'll play some Fortnite and hopefully get a little further into that battle pass, and then maybe do some Call of Duty the next day, and maybe we'll finish the week with Fortnite. I don't know if I can, because actually I think Thursday I might not be able to get that stream in. I don't know. We'll see, because Thursday I might have something going on. Maybe I can do a later night stream. We'll see. But I have to get up for work the next day, so it may or may not go, depending on what time I get done with my appointment on that day. So that's our look at gaming this week. And then South of Midnight, just because it's Louisiana, I gotta play the game. I haven't played it. I gotta play that game. And then there's, after that, you know, there's Oblivion. There's all kinds of games coming out. There's so many games right now that I would like to play, just don't have enough time. You know, three good game streams a week is usually all I can get, you know. So to be able to do playthroughs and all that, it's just I don't have enough time to do that. I can't game stream every day. Sorry, y'all, needed a drink, so I'm sipping on some soda. So that's where we're at in our gaming journey. So if you'd like to tune into that, don't forget it's Art with Errol Gaming as well. We can go back to circle back around to artwork, and then we'll get some closing thoughts, I think. Where we're at 28 minutes. That's good. You know, my podcasts are usually short, so artwork. We've been hammering down on doing an art video every Friday. Last Friday we drew crypto, and that was fun. It was just a quick, you know, like all of these are pretty quick, you know. That's what I have time to do, right? 2 hours is not a lot of time. You gotta hammer out a quick drawing. It's just, you know, it's a one shot, one go, one shot, one kill. So we kind of just sketched out crypto in our sketchbook. I think it came out pretty good. It was fun. And I think for this week, Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out. So maybe we draw Donkey Kong and Pauline. I think that would be fun. We could just do some kind of drawing from either the art book or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure something out. I'll find something. Maybe we do Donkey Kong. Because that comes out Friday, I believe, right? Today's the 14th. Thursday or Friday it comes out. So this Friday maybe we'll draw something from Donkey Kong, either Donkey Kong and Pauline or just Donkey Kong himself. We'll do a sketch of one of the two or both. We'll figure it out. When Friday comes around, we'll knock that out. And I try to keep things, you know, going at what's relevant, you know, within gaming and movies. So, and we also know at the end of the month we've got Fantastic Four, so that'll be a fun. Maybe I could do a Fantastic Four drawing of all four characters. I don't know, that might be too big or too ambitious. Maybe we just pick one. I don't know. We'll see with that one. There's a lot of good stuff coming up and coming out, so plenty of things to sketch and have fun with on our art day, which is every Friday on the Art with Errol channel on YouTube. So I think that pretty much covers the week too. So we got at least 2 game streams this week. We're gonna get done Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday I have an appointment, so maybe after the appointment I can squeeze one in. I'll try to squeeze one in. If not, yeah, I don't know. We'll see if I can get one in on the weekend or not. Because I try to get at least 3 per week, which is sometimes challenging. And Friday we'll do the Donkey Kong drawing. I think that'll be great, and that'll close out the week for this week. But closing thoughts, I think you got to keep your drive. Everybody, keep your drive. You can't get better at something if you're not practicing it, right? So the way we practice is just to do it. Make your content, and try to get better each time. That's all I can say. Is there's no real blueprint that's gonna get you the success that you want. You have to design and come up with your own blueprint, your own path, and the only way to carve that out is to actually do it, to get out there and do it, right? And I think that's all I really got for today. But this was great, man. I feel like this is a great outlet for me, to kind of like put my thoughts out. If you all, like I said, I always say, if you would like to give me some of your ideas, please comment on these videos on YouTube or the podcast or wherever you're listening, because we got I got the podcast on everything right now. Pretty much everything. It's on Amazon. We're on Spotify. We're on X. We're on YouTube. I'm trying to put it everywhere to get more community involvement. That's what social media is about. I always say that. It's about, interacting with folks. So, really, the post and ghost idea is not applicable. I get it when you have too many followers, it could be too much, That's why a lot of the folks that have a lot of following, they usually read just the subscriber, or not the subscriber, what do you call it? They're, the folks that are paid, because it's just too many. You have too many, you can't get to everybody. So you go to the paid folks. And that's understandable. The folks that have the subscription to them or whatever, those are the folks that usually get the attention first, and then after that, it's just too many. So that's usually how that works, And I know a few of them will read the other comments too, but it's mostly the paid people first, right? Because they actually paid to to speak to the person that's on a live stream, or some folks that don't have a big following, they can talk to everyone else. But a lot of the larger streamers or content creators, they have like so many. If you look at their chat, it's just scrolling, man. You can't read that. You can read one here and there. It's just too much information at once. It's just not possible, right? Don't forget to check out our other channels, y'all. Check out the crypto sketch that we did on Art with Errol channel. Like and subscribe, y'all, to all the channels. Art with Errol Gaming, Art with Errol Podcast, Join the community. We're trying to build a good community. I think it will be good once we get more people involved and chatting and all that stuff. Keep your drive, y'all. Stay focused. Make content. That's how you get better at something. You gotta do it to get to the success. 10,000 hours, right? We gotta get there. Remember, you don't need the perfect map. You don't need that. You just need to be willing to make it on the road. Get on the road and drive, man. Like, just do it. It's like Nike. You just got to do it, right? All right, y'all. Till the next one, y'all. I hope you guys enjoy your week. And next Monday, we'll come back with another topic that we can kind of, this, like I said, this has really been fun because, it gets my brain working and thinking about the things that I need to work on all the time. And a lot of this is me talking to myself, and that's fine because that is helping me out. It's my little therapy session with anybody that want to listen. Anyway, y'all, you have a good week, and we'll see you on the next one.